can hurt, lying can hurt sometimes, but it's the old. Hey everyone, welcome to another Guitar Zero to Hero song tutorial, and in today's lesson I'll be showing you how to play Photograph by Ed Sheeran. Now I'm going to run through two different versions of how to play this song. The first version is going to be how I believe Ed Sheeran plays it in his live video, which you can check out here. And the second version will be how to play it with simple open chords. And you'll need a capo for that version. So starting with the first version, all we need to learn are 4 different chord shapes. Alright, so those chord shapes are not your standard open chords. So we'll start with the first one, which is an E major sort of chord. It's an alternative to this chord, basically. But what Ed Sheeran does is he takes his ring finger and he puts it on the 7th fret of the 5th string. And then he takes his middle finger and puts it on the 6th fret of the 4th string. Now the other important part of this chord is that you need to take your index finger and you need to just rest it above the 3rd string so it's muted. So there's going to be no ring out for that 3rd string. And altogether the chord will sound like that, which will sound really nice. But you've got to be really careful not to let that 3rd string ring out. Make sure it's muted. Now the 2nd, 3rd and 4th chord shapes are basically just going to be power chord shapes. Now if you don't know what a power chord is, make sure to follow this link here and check out my video on how to play power chords, what they are and how to practice them. So our second chord shape will be a power chord on the 9th fret. So basically we'll take your index finger, put it on the 9th fret, your ring finger will go on the 11th, and then your pinky will go on the 11th. Now it's important to note for this 2nd, 3rd and 4th chord shape, you'll be doing the same thing as the first, where you'll be muting the 3rd string and not letting it ring out. So to mute this 3rd string with this chord shape, you need to take your middle finger and just rest it on top of the 3rd string. Don't push down, otherwise you'll hear a note. Alright, so just to show you an example, if you don't mute it, that chord's going to sound very off. But if you mute it, it sounds nice and crisp. So that's the second chord shape we need to learn. The 3rd chord shape is exactly the same, but you move it 2 frets down. So you have your index on 7th, your ring on 9th, and your pinky on 9th, and you're muting the 3rd string. And finally, the 4th chord shape is again the same, but 2 more frets down. So you're on 5th with your index, 7th with your ring, and 7th with your pinky, and you're muting the 3rd string again, and it'll sound something like that. Now we get to the strumming pattern of this song, and it's very simple. It's just all down strums throughout the whole song basically. Now to make this strumming pattern dynamic and sound good, what we're going to do is we're going to throw accents in there. So if I was to play the downstrokes to the count of 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, it will sound something like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now the beats that we need to accent will be the 1 beat, the end beat after the 2, and the 4 beat. And I'll sound something like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. And what I mean by accent is that you either play the strings harder or you hit more of the high notes. The rest of the strums can be more concentrated on the bass notes, and the accented ones can be strumming everything. So when we put it together to a chord, it should sound something like this, using the E major chord as an example. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. And that strumming pattern will be used throughout the whole song. So starting with the intro / verse, we have 4 chords in this order. We have the first E major chord to start with, and then we go to the 9th fret power chord, and then we go to the 7th fret power chord, and then we finish with the 5th fret power chord. And each chord gets held for 2 strumming patterns. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and that's the length. So in the intro, I like to strum all the strings and it should sound something like this. Now when we get to the verse though, what Ed Sheeran does is he starts palm muting. Now to palm mute, as the name suggests, all you need to do is take the fleshy bit of your palm and just rest it right over the bridge there. And when you strum the strings, you should only really concentrate on the top 3 bass notes. So for the E chord, it will sound something like this. Remember the accents are still there, so you play the accented notes a bit harder and the rest of them a bit softer. So the verse will sound something like this. 1, 2, 3. Now the pre-chorus has the same 4 chords, just in a different order. So the chord order is the 9th fret power chord, the 5th fret power chord, the E major chord, and then the 7th fret power chord. Now the other difference with this pre-chorus is that each chord is only going to be played for one strumming pattern. The strumming pattern is going to be muted as well for this pre-chorus. So altogether, the pre-chorus will sound something like this. 1. Now we get to the chorus. And the chorus is going to be the same 4 chords, again, just in a different order. So the order of the chords is the E major chord, and we go to the 7th power chord, and then we go to the 9th fret power chord, and then we finish on the 5th fret power chord. And now how I like to play it is I like to stop the palm muting here and then start just strumming all the strings unpalm muted. We also return to playing each chord with 2 strumming patterns as opposed to the 1 in the pre-chorus. And in total, the chorus should sound something like this. Now moving on to the bridge, it has the same 4 chords as the pre-chorus. So we start on the 9th fret power chord, we go down to the 5th fret power chord, go to the E major chord, and then the 7th fret power chord. Now the difference between the bridge and the pre-chorus is that in the bridge, we're not going to be palm muting, and also each chord gets held out for 2 strumming patterns as well. So altogether, the bridge will sound something like this. And that's all you need to know for the first version of Photograph by Ed Sheeran. Now, just to recap on that first version that we've learnt, it's really important that in each chord shape that we play, that you mute the 3rd string. This third string should never ring out in each of the chord shapes. So just be very mindful of that. Okay, now we get to the second version of how to play this song, and this is going to be using just basic open chords, but we're going to need a capo on the 4th fret. Now the strumming pattern we need to use and the palm muting, all that still applies to this second version. Now in this second version, the chords that we need are C chord shape, the G chord shape, A minor chord shape, and the F chord shape. Now starting with the intro verse, The chord progression will be something like this: C, A minor, G, and F. So the verse will sound something like this with the same palm mute strumming pattern. And now we get to the pre-chorus. In the pre-chorus, the chords go like this: A minor, F, C, and G. And in the pre-chorus, we're only playing those chords for one strumming pattern, and we're still palm muting. So the pre-chorus sounds something like this. And now we get to the chorus, and the chorus chords go like this. We have C, then we go to G, then we go to A minor, and then finally F. And in the chorus, we go back to playing each chord for two strumming patterns. And we no longer palm mute the strums. So the chorus should sound something like this. And finally we get to the bridge, and the bridge goes something like this. We have A minor, F, C, and G. And we're playing each chord for two strumming patterns, and we are also not palm muting. And the bridge will sound something like this. And that's it for the second version of how to play Photograph. Note that the only difference from the first version are the chord shapes that we're playing. Everything else from the strumming pattern to the palm mutes is exactly the same. So just to recap that strumming pattern that we use throughout basically the whole song, if you're playing all the downstrokes to a 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and sort of beat, remember that you need to accent the first beat, the end beat after the 2, and the 4 beat. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and that's what you need to adopt throughout the whole song, whether you're palm muting it or whether you're strumming the full strings. So now I'm going to play the verse, pre-chorus and chorus and sing along for context. Don't mind my singing. Try to play along and see how you go.
Loving can hurt. Loving can hurt sometimes, but it's the only thing that I know. When it gets hard, you know it can get hard sometimes. It is the only thing that makes us feel alive. We keep this love in a photograph, make these memories for ourselves, where our eyes are never closing, hearts are never broken, time's forever frozen still. So you can kill me inside the pocket of your ripped jeans, holding me closer till my eyes meet. You won't ever be alone. Wait for me to come home.
So that's it for Photograph by Ed Sheeran in 2 different versions. The first version is how Ed Sheeran plays it in his live acoustic video, which you can check out here. Be sure to check it out because it's an amazing performance. And the second version is how to play it with basic open chords with a capo, which by all means is just as correct as well. So again, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, leave your thoughts and comments below, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.